Hi guys, it's Belle here, and it is the last Monday, official Monday of 2024. I hope you had a wonderful festive period, however you spent it, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. Yes. But before this is New Year's Eve, so I wanted to come on and share with you my completed 2024 Margarete Miller collages. You know, if you've been following for a while, that I've been doing them on index cards, and one of the reasons for that is, one, I had a ton of index cards, especially the ones that fitted in here. I just cut the letters off them, a lot of them, and two, I had this box that's just sitting there. It was a plain black box, and I collaged on it. I took some of the collage paper by Tim Holtz. I ripped it into different pieces. I've adhered it to the black box. I've used different inks on it. And then I've gone over with some texture paste in this beautiful cross, which I can't remember. Oh, it's here. It's the THMS 160. So these are the crosses. I just used the black texture paste. I kept some of the ink on the black around the edge because I wanted it to look grungy. I think I used Vintage Photo, maybe some Salvage Patina, and possibly a little bit of pops of Mermaid Lagoon, but it was definitely Salvage Patina because that's one of my favourites. And yeah, I used the entomology collage. I've got it on the long strip that he no longer does, those long strips. So I thought, great way to use it up. Even did the bottom. You can see the colours a lot better on there. Things are upside down. There's numbers. And then I just put a bit of burlap with a label on top saying that it's the collage. And I had this trim again in my stash. It must have come off a present or something, and I just attached that, frayed the edges, and glued it on. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's better than a plain black box. Now let's have a look. I didn't decorate inside. Let's have a look at what the index cards look like inside, guys. You can see they fit really well. I mean, I could have squeezed maybe one more or two more in, but they fit in really nicely. I mean, look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. I didn't stagger all of them, the tabs, as much as I hoped or had intended to, but you can still see all the different numbers, and I just think it looks really good. What I may do is put a little square of felt in the bottom of here. But let's get them out and have a look at them. So we'll do a final flip through. I'm not going to go through all of them like the prompts, but we're just going to look at them. So this was the first one I did. Yeah, I mean, it's cute, but I've definitely, I think, developed more of a style. This was my first. I've never done collage on an index card like this. I mean, if you put it in a journal, but not to prompts. So this was my first kind of attempt at it, and yeah, I like it. It's cute, but I definitely got more used to working on index cards. Then we had this one, went for a completely different vibe to the first one. I kind of like it, but I feel like maybe this should have been embossed. And by this point, I didn't have my new corner rounder, so I wasn't rounding corners. And I definitely think like this would have done well with a corner rounded. I can't round the corner now because there's some fabric tape there. But yeah, and I had decided this year that every single one of them was going to have a tab. Obviously, they're index cards. And every single one of them was going to have a word of some sort or a saying or something like that. And then we had this one. Actually, I really liked this one. It's super cute. Again, I feel like the corners should have been rounded on it. But there we go. And yeah, I really liked it. And another thing I was really trying to do this year is I was trying to use things up like this and this that I don't normally use. This was definitely one of my favourite of the whole year. I love this. I used the dominoes in the background as snow. This feels very much like a me vibe. die cuts, vintage leisure, and everything else. So I really like that one. That was cute, and I did some stitching on it. So that's one of my favorites. I also decided that I was just going to play with things that not only that I wouldn't normally do, but also that maybe aren't my style. So there are a few of those in here. Really like this one as well. This was a memory keeping one that you guys probably would look at and go, I don't know, but to me this reminds me of living in Cyprus and family beaches, and that's why I did it. And I just really like this. Again, it's kind of a me style, but using some things like the pink and that I wouldn't normally tend to gravitate towards. So I really like this one too. Then we went for this one. I can't believe this was this early in the year. This again was one of my favorites. Not necessarily because of the layout. I think the layout's okay. Could have done a bit more with it, but I do like it. And this one definitely had an object hung on the wall and a photo of your family or family member. And just in case you missed that, this is my paternal grandparents when they were young and courting, newly married, not sure. It's one of my favorite photos. I really like all of this. It all links into different things, and I love the vintage feel of it. This is one I'm not happy with at all. Well, some of it I am, but I don't really like this one. Well, no, it's okay. I don't know what it is that I'm not overly keen on with this one. Actually, it's not too bad now I'm looking at it. Do I want to change my mind 5 times in video? Why not? It's my video and my card. I do think I would prefer this. We're going to go in around the edges because I can round the edges on this one. And I think I would prefer it if the edges were rounded. Why did that not come out properly? Okay, let's do it this way. Yeah, I think I would prefer it with rounded edges. I don't know why, but I do. I don't know, yeah, actually it's growing on me. So we just got a cute vintage looking one. As you can see, I'm really just trying to, I think it's this one. I thought this one was this one. This one I didn't like. This one did not come the way I wanted it to. But it is Agatha Christie themed. We've got my cinema ticket to The Haunting in Venice. We've got Miss Marple. This is from my Miss Marple calendar. There was no Agatha Christie calendar this year. I had Miss Marple in 2023 and I had Poirot this year in 2024. They didn't bring out a new Agatha Christie one. They could do one with her other people, like, you know, Parker Payne and Tommy and Tuppence and all that lot, but Mr. Quinn. But no, so I have a different one this year. But anyway, I didn't really like this. I think it's this. I think it's the lace. I didn't like this one, but we did it. And there we go. And then I had this one. And again, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I quite like it. I quite like the colour palette. I like the fact I used the stamps. I put a wonderful creature on here. I must have by this point got my corner rounder because the corners on here are rounded. But I feel like if I was going to do it now, I might put some stamping or some extra colour on there. But it's cute. Then we have this one. This is quite a fun, really vintage one. And again, you know, we've got a lot of vintage on here, nearly everything except for the tea bag and the words. So this is actually quite cute. Before you say goodnight, the music of my heart. So yeah, little boy with his cat about to go to bed. That's quite cute. I like that. It's very vintage. Oh, this one I really liked. I used a lot of scraps on here. But it's actually got, if you missed this one, it's actually got a real needle through it. I can't remember why. Did it say an art scrap? Yeah, an art scrap. And something sharp, was it? Set of 3. An object that makes a familiar sound. I think I used the scissors. So I did some stitching in this neon thread and then put a needle through. I really like how that turned out and got a few art scraps. I love the colour palette. This was in remembrance of Mother's Day. See, I can look at them and I remember things, why I did them. Again, not very me, really, in colour palette or even in style. But actually, I really like it. I think it's cute and it works well. By this point, I was really getting into the swing of using the index cards. Then we have this one. This is quite simple, actually. This is probably one of the most simple ones. I'm going to round the corners on this one too. It works, but gosh, why is this just not thinging? Okay, I'll round that one by hand. Yeah, it works, but it's a bit plain compared to some of my other ones. But that's okay. But it does work and I like it. And I made sure it's got jam. This was all about springtime is starting, seasonal. I wish I'd thought earlier in the year about doing more seasonal. Spring was definitely in the air because I actually, funny enough, I really, really like this one. Again, it's not a colour palette. Normally I work with these bright pops of yellow, although I love using red. But I just really like how this one came about. I think it's a lot of fun. Again, I was using up things I wouldn't normally, and a few pieces in my stash, some vintage map there. Elmira is a curious woman. Yeah, I really like that one. I do. But yes, spring was definitely, by this point, especially now we're going into spring, summer, was definitely starting to influence my cards. So I do wish later in the year I really made them consciously themed, but funny enough, it was already starting to affect me in the colours I was choosing. I love the stenciling I did on here. I can't remember why I did that. Oh, a repeating pattern, probably. Something stenciled. Oh, all right then, that's why it was. This was I really love that. Used a bit of vintage, used these. Do you know what? I really like that one, even though it's very bright. Here we have a cute little tag one. I think this might be the only tag one I made. I wish I'd thought about that. And I like the way I used the playing card in this because it's not only the tab, but I cut stars out. Did we need stars? Oh yeah, we needed a star, so I put that on. This was all about holiday because we're getting ready. It's that time of the year. Spring was coming. I quite like it. I like the tag shape. I should have done more of those. Oh, I just really loved this one. This feels very me, like this whole style, the black and white, the photos, like this just feels very much like a Belle creation. Obviously, I've created all of them, but I've tried to play with different colours, styles, themes, as you've already seen. I mean, this is so different to like something like that. But that's what I love about the Margarete Miller collage. I really just often push myself outside the box. I find new things that I like, but I also just get to play with some fun bits. And this was all about, well, this was kind of, I don't know if the 17th was already winter in Christmas in July. I don't think so. But I had to use some packaging and I had this mince pie hot chocolate. This year, my favourite one has been the pecan one. Oh my goodness, I love that. So yes, love this one. She still makes me smile every time. And I like the winter time kind of at a angle. Love that one. This one was cute, but you can see, again, very different in many respects. Although I do like to use people. It's cute. I've used some colour on here. I've picked out the pink. I'm not going to say it's a favourite, but it's not a least favourite. It's just that it's cute. Then we have this one. Funny enough, I feel like this is not a favourite for me. I love the dragonfly that I've used, and we've used vintage and some of the handmade paper for my dear friend Sarah. And I know I was linking it to nursing and things like that, but to be honest, I'm not that keen on that. Do I prefer it to this one? I don't know. These feel like kind of the same. Very the same. Oh, this one I like though. This was cute. I really just tried to do something very creative with this one. And what did we need? Currency. Yeah, so currency and I think a list or something. So these were a list of ingredients and this is from Monopoly. And I just made her in a little bed. And I had a little bit of fun with this one. I really like her. I do really like this one. And we've got the rounded edges even for her pillow. That is very cute. Again, another one that some of it's very me. Like I've used lots of vintage bits and the butterfly. But I'm not going to say it's a favourite. It's not a least favourite, but it's not a favourite. Do you know what I mean? Like it's okay. But again, tried something a bit different. Used a vellum sticker. And so, yeah, it is what it is. This made me laugh. This was funny. I enjoyed this one. I got a bit creative. I did some stitching on it. Did we have to do stitching? Stitching, real drawn or stamped. Yeah, love this. Love the fact that this one makes me laugh. I like sometimes when they make me laugh, and this definitely does. We've got the story that she'd gone shopping and this big bug was after her fruit that she'd brought. So yeah, love this. Not love, but I really like this one. It makes me giggle. Then we've got week 23. I believe this opens. Yes, it does. So that opens up. This is cute. Not a favourite, but it's cute. You know? Tried something different. Tried the vellum that opens on here. I hadn't done any of that. Love the texture. Thinking about it now, would I have gone over it with a bit of blush? I don't know, but I think we needed something white space. So that's why that was on there. Yeah. So cute, but not a favourite. By this point, we're getting into summer. I know we're getting into summer. And again, very cute. It's all about cats in the garden. Made me think of my cats. Really like it. Used a few bits I don't normally use, like up here in that. Did some fussy cutting. Cute. Then we have this one. Now, this isn't a favourite. There's a lot going on in here for me. But then I suppose you'd say there's a lot going on here. But I feel like this is much more cohesive. It's similar colours and things. Whereas this just feels like there's a lot going on. This was all about holidays and travels, hence the word, and trying food in different countries. So, yeah, just looking at them, they remind me of what I was thinking. We have this one. Again, it's okay. To be honest, it's a bit plain. Like it could have done with something more, some texture paste or splatters. But, you know, these aren't for art pages. These are me doing the prompts. And sometimes, like, I like the fact that this is from a vintage book and I've actually stamped that inside, but it almost looks like it is part of the vintage book. And I've brought in some of my jelly printing and stuff, used vellum again. So, you know, it's like, okay, but not a favourite. I wonder if this was Christmas in July. I would love to actually go back and count the pages because this is super Christmassy. And this tag comes out. I really like this one. This is cute. It's interactive. It's using like some stickers. We've got number 25. I wonder if it was it a seasonal? Did it say something in the prompts? Something representing a holiday. Well, I don't know if it was Christmas in July or not, but it was obviously a very Christmassy one. Very early on. Love it. That's a cute one. This is another one that's okay. This is very textural because this has flocked paper on it. And I wrote on there, I wish I'd written a title to the book or something. But yeah, this was all about reading and stuff and getting lost in books. It's okay. It's cute. Then we have this one. Off you go. Again, it's not normally something that feels very me. I've tried a few different things on here. The colour palette, the very vintage. These stickers are not something I normally use, which is why they've been in my stash for several years. So I've tried a few different things. This was all about like the idea of like the Tour de France, but like with women in the 1920s, like their own biking one, and off you go. And it was all that kind of thing, and your team and the coming in on time and all the different places you can go through on the bike. So I know the theme to it. It's okay. This one, oh my goodness. Now, firstly, this is so not a bell piece. It's unbelievable. Other than having some black lace on here and in some embossed card and stitching, and wouldn't even use embossed card white anyway, this has basically every other element is not me at all. At all. This one I was really pushing myself outside my comfort. It was all about Paris and the city of love. But the main thing I remember about this card, it went missing. It went missing for at least a month, maybe 2. I could not find it anywhere. Literally the day after making this, it was missing. And then it just turned up in the most random place with the umbrella poking out the top. And it was only because I was looking at something thinking, what's that pink umbrella there? And it was like, no, you were not there. You were not there. The Crafting Pixies have put you there because you were not there when I was looking for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was stressing me out so much. Now, the thing was, I'd taken a picture of it. So worst came to worst, I could print out the picture and put it in here. But that was really bothering me, the idea of that. It was a workaround, but it wasn't something that I would have preferred to do because I want to actually see the piece, and I didn't have the prompts on the back, and I could have printed those out again, but it's a whole thing. And then she just turned up. So, as many of you said, and as I now feel, I feel like this little girl who was floating on her umbrella of love to the Paris, to the Eiffel Tower and the City of Love, I feel like she actually went and visited it and then came back. So beware if you put little girls or boys with umbrellas floating on your cards, the card may actually float away. So that's what I remember most about this. I also remember how many of you commented that this really was very different for me. And yeah, what was I kind of thinking? But again, trying something new. But yes, that will forever be the story of this one. This is cute. This is fun. We're getting back to more me. Still using people. Like, that is something that I do like to do. I like to often have people or animals on my cards. It's just, I don't know. I think it's because I like working with photographs, so I like bringing that in. And again, this was a travel one. We think it's very bright summer. Again, we've got a lot of bright primary colors on here, which I don't tend to work with. I like muted colors. I love black and red together, hence black and red here. But I don't tend to work with a lot of bright primary colors, especially, even though I like it, yellow. I was trying to look because sometimes it says a colour you don't normally work with. I love the colour yellow, but I don't wear it. I don't have it in my home, really. I don't craft with it. Orange is the same. I don't really do that. So I was using things here that I wouldn't normally do, and I was using a negative scrap, a negative die cut scrap. Really like it. Really like the kind of creative arty style with this very... well, it's a picture of some houses. So like that. And this one, blah. I don't really feel anything for this one. It doesn't do anything for me. Not that happy with it. Understand where it was coming from. Instrument. I did wonder because it says piano, and I thought that must have been something, because in case you don't know and you're new here, hello, welcome. If you're interested in all these, I have a whole playlist so you can go back and watch all of these videos, and 2 years before that. But I tend to use dictionary pages, but I tend to pick up ones that have the words that are going to link to my theme, because that's how my brain works. So this one is piano. I don't know why it said you do you. Maybe because that's just what we're doing. Yeah, it's not a favourite, that one. We must have been coming into autumn because, oh my goodness, this feels very much like a bell page. We've got gold splatters, we've got die cuts, we've got fox, we've got the colours I love. I mean, this is when I will use orange, is when it's autumnal. Love it for that. We've got, yeah, this must have been all the kind of things that I like. I'm just looking, something that makes you happy. Pumpkins, being outside. This whole card, yeah, this is one I really like. Oh, this makes me laugh. It's a very simple card. It has a very vintage feel, and again, we're working with some kind of colours I wouldn't normally work with, like these pale pinks. Although saying that, you've seen me use a lot of pinks. Like, I have a lot of bits and pieces that are random that I've been gifted, and part of me doesn't want to get rid of them, but often they're not in my style and things like that. So this is the perfect kind of challenge to really use things like that up. But this one, we got talking about the idea of fairy tales, and particular Jack and the Beanstalk, that this was kind of themed on. And, oh, inspired by a fairy tale. Yeah, this was all themed around Jack and the Beanstalk. And we got talking about the fact that, you know, when you really look at it, Jack is a really naughty boy, and he the poor giant is really villainized in that story, when actually Jack is breaking and entering, stealing, destroying stuff. He's lazy. Like, yeah, he Yep. He needs a good talking to. But that's what I remember. You see, that these aren't just collages, guys. I remember the comments that you guys made. I remember often what I was thinking about and what was inspiring me at the time. That's why I love these collages so much. It's so much more. It's bigger than just putting things on a base for me. It's bigger than just pulling out some of the things you least use or some of the things you love. It's bigger than that for me. There's always not always, let me rephrase that. 99% of the time there is a theme in my head, or there is a reason, or I've been inspired by something, or there's a story that I've told whilst I'm making it. And you know, I don't remember much, but I do remember those. Love this one. This is cute. This feels like a Belle one. It's similar colours. The only thing that stands out on here that I don't like is this. But what I do remember, talking about remembering things that you guys have said, is I remember one of you said I should have drawn a line so that that looked like a balloon. And I didn't actually do that. But do you know what? I'm going to go in and do that now. I'm going to draw it like it's like this little boy is holding it in his hand, because it does look like, yeah, that actually makes that a lot better. I like that. I like it a lot more. Yeah, this is cute. And this was Famous 5 inspired. Again, haven't even written it on the back, but I remember it was Famous 5. I can't remember the book it was, but there's one where they go camping near an old railway and they're investigating it, and they've gone with this old professor guy who's kind of a friend of the family, and he doesn't take care of them at all. He barely even takes care of himself. He's so focused at looking at all the different plants and things on the moors where they're staying. And the kids just go wandering off. And little Anne, who's about 9 years old, is cooking for him, because otherwise, you know, he wouldn't even eat. And they're off doing all sorts of things and getting into all sorts of mischief. And I think George gets trapped by these smugglers. It's a whole thing. And that's what inspired this whole thing. The basis. Yeah, I remember that. Let's bring these back down. So again, this is cute. Not my style. You can see, like, honestly, not my style, but I don't mind it. It is cute. It's got things I like on here. I like the green. We've got a vintage photo. I like the little bird sticker and the butterfly. And this one actually moves so that it says Imagine underneath. So yeah, even though it's a slightly different color palette, it's very pastel to what I would normally gravitate towards. I do really like it. It is very cute. And I like the fact that there's something, I don't think I put anything on the back now, that there's something interactive. And then we have this one. Again, this is the only one like this I made, but again, trying something different. And I cut around, this was using a napkin, and I cut around it. And this was all about, I think it was cryptozoology. So it was a family who come from possibly Holland or somewhere. I'm trying to remember where this napkin was from. And to me, they had heard in the paper, they work, you know, they're really into cryptozoology, which if you don't know is the study of like mythical, not mythical, but kind of, I suppose they are mythical if you want to think of it that way, but creatures. So the abominable snowman is who they have just heard about. They're going to fly out. They've hired a car. They're going to go and investigate. So yeah, it's the abominable snowman, Mothman, chupacabras, all that kind of thing is cryptozoology. And yeah, that's what this one was all about. And I really liked this one. I do think if it had been more neutral in the background, I would have liked it more, because again, very bright primary colours. We're coming to understand I don't like primary colours very much, working with them, and I don't really like pastels. But I think I would choose pastels over primary colours if I was doing a project, which is interesting. And again, we've got an interactive bit. I can't remember why that was on there. Blah, blah, blah. Paperclip or Brad. Okay, so we got the Brad. That's why that was on there. Like that one. Only one like that I did. Here we've got very pastel. It's all about cups of tea and garden and all that kind of thing. This was very cute, and I used one of my tags that I love from the company that I buy lots of clothing from. Very cute. It's, yeah, it's cute. It's not a least favourite. I know it's a lot of pastels, but I actually really like it. I think it's cute. Oh, this is one of my all-time favourite tags that I've made all year. And this is definitely autumn. I think we were coming into autumn Halloween, and this is when I made the decision that I was going to do seasonal ones all through autumn. So all through October, rather, and then I was going to do it again for Christmas, which is something I'm definitely going to carry into next year. But I'm going to be much more, what's the word? I'm going to be much more kind of make sure that it happens seasonally as well. This one of my favourites because it's got my kitties on it. They're beautiful. They're cute. I think this pops out. Yeah, it's got something written on it. To one day own. Oh, I know what that was. So interactive. It's got my kittens. It's got all my favourite kind of colours except for this pale pink. I would never normally have used this pale pink on here. So again, I was trying something. But something noisy. I think that was my kittens. A written personal goal or ambition. Tree, text, forest, language. Something you're thankful for. So that was both of them. So my kittens. They're noisy and there's something I'm thankful for. And my goal was to one day own a Maine Coon cat. Love my cats. One of my favourites. Love it, love it, love it. Wish I might just take it out and have it on display. Super, super cute. Love it. And then we got to... I love this one too. Love this. Do you know what? I think most of these later ones I really, really love. Again, it's darker part of the year. We're using the kind of colours I gravitate towards. Love this. Something from mythology or legend. We've got Dracula. We've got the idea of Bram Stoker. I've used some of the vintage tape that I'd made for Creep on June. Really, it's the first time I've made tape like that. Obviously, Tim Holtz came out of it, so everyone started making it. Love this one. This is very me. Very, very me. Just like this is very me, except for the pale pink. But you know what? It works really well. And then we have autumnal. Oh, again, very me. Love it. We've got this key and little leaf, pumpkin. This was all about pumpkin soups. And yeah, definitely pumpkin soup. Because we've got pumpkin, garlic, paprika, and carrot down there. We've got like part from a nut package. I really like how that worked. Pumpkins, red trucks, beautiful houses. I mean, it's very American considering obviously I'm in the UK. But it is awful to say, but the red truck, farmer's truck, has really infiltrated the British psychology. Well, in this house it has. Like me and my daughter are slightly obsessed with them. And I would own one, to be honest. Love this one. And then it must have been, oh no, we're still going. So it must have been spooky season, autumn into Halloween, because here is one all based around the idea of Edgar Allan Poe writing a new story based on St. Michael's Mount here in Cornwall. Yes, so it's got bugs and all sorts in it because it was something specific time, famous person, triangle, instructions. We had instructions here, which were for a herbal remedy. I like this one because I tried something new. Again, blue is not a palette. Right, what's happened to my words? Blue is not a colour palette I gravitate towards, unless I'm doing celestial and we're bringing in blues and purples. I rarely really use the colour blue, and it's not because I don't like it, it's just not one I gravitate towards. So this really had that kind of blue vibe to it, and I did blue stamping, and I remember this was one of my new stamp sets that I picked up, so I wanted to use that. And this was also a stamp set. Yeah, I wanted to use some new stamps, do some fun stuff, use the colour blue, all about Edgar Allan Poe. Oh my gosh, this one still makes me laugh. There's a lot going on in this page. I'm not going to lie, this is chaotic. It's not a favourite. I don't like the layout that much. However, two things I love on this. Firstly, I've used some stickers and drawings from my dear friend Anna, who I do my Crafty Coven Halloween Advent Swap with every year. She's one of my dear best friends in the world, and she made these stickers. Love that. And secondly, this is just funny. Please, if you have not seen this video, go back and watch it. my brain was going in a weird, like, this is a little pumpkin boy with his black cat, and poor him has realized that someone has carved out this giant pumpkin head, and he's terrified. He's running away. He's like, oh my God, they're going to carve out my head. It was a whole thing. It made me laugh. It still makes me chuckle to look at it. So even though this one my least favorite in the composition, makes me laugh. And then this must have been Halloween. Oh my gosh, the thread's stuck. There we go. This must have been Halloween night. It says Halloween. Love it. It's got some of my favorite things. It's got Tim Holtz on here. It's got bats that have got gilding. Is that picking up? We've got skulls. We've got bones. We got all my favorite things on here. There is real texture to this because this is a dimensional Tim Holtz resin bone. We've got stitching on here. This was from a sticker that I'd recently got in a pack. And I remember actually one of the things for this is Boo, something beginning with B. And I'd said, I think, bone. But then someone pointed out, and I'd forgotten, because this was also the reason I picked these things, we've got bats and it says bones. So there's lots of different things. Actually, this might be the B, because this might be for bone, because the other was fibre or string to tie that on. I love this. It's got some of my favourite cheesecloth on here. Love it. Very, very belle. And it's so different from, let's just find, like something like this. Let's get these two side by side. You can see they're very, very different. But again, that's what the collage is all about for me. It's about stories. It's about having fun and interacting with you guys. I don't get a lot of views on these Margarete Miller collage videos, I have to be honest. I really don't. And sometimes I think, is it worth putting them out there? And then I just remember how much I enjoy doing them and sharing them, and how much that I know there's several of you who watch every single one of these, who found me through Margarete Miller Collage Challenge, and who comment on every video. And I love that interaction with you guys. Love this one. This was Bonfire Night. Again, if you did not watch it and you'll think, Bonfire Night, what is that? Go back and watch it. I tell you the history behind it and why we celebrate it here in the UK and around some of the Commonwealth countries. It was a whole little historical thing because history's my love. Love this. Oh, this is my new one. The Pecan Cinnamon Danish. That's my new favourite hot chocolate. Mince pie was so good last year, but love this one. This is going to be a new, I really hope they bring this out next year. I need to stock up. And I did some stitching with some sparkly threads, which I love to represent the fire. Love this. And I love remember the 5th of November. It actually says words from a poem or a song title. So I did that for that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. This one I don't like at all. This might be my least favourite. It's tied with a few others, but it might be my least favourite in every single one that I've done. I feel like it's completely two different cards. I think if we had the themes on their own, especially the butterfly one, I'd like it. But one of the things I do like is I used some of the perforated paper, cross-stitch paper, which I'd been inspired again by one of you lovely subbies. Hi Audrey, to use, and I'd been using it to stitch with during October and in my October daily journal. So I wanted to use it as a scrap. We've got scraps on here that mean a lot to me, like some from my son and that. I love steampunk, so I love the butterfly, but I just don't think these go together. Also, I used the light in this, like gradiated colour, to represent candles, because I think it said a candle or candle light. So I like that. I like the way my thoughts were going. I really don't like this card. I really just think this does not work. It's my least favourite. I dislike that more than I like the pink and white one that with Paris. Because even though those aren't the colours I tend to go with, and it's not my usual cutesy style, it works together. It's cohesive. There was a theme. That is just chaos on a card. And then we get into the winter season. So I started making winter ones earlier than December. And that's great. That's what I wanted to do. Love this card. Really, really love it. I've used an embossing folder that I've never used before. I've used a stamp set that I don't use. Like, I really pulled some stuff out. And in this one, I can't even remember why I chose these. Something purple, block print, Famous City, graph paper. Okay, so Famous City was London. I don't know why. I just saw these and everything, and it was Christmas. So here's our little girl. We've got our vintage graph paper. She's got a little purple boots and purple in her scarf and that, and she's sending her letter to Santa. Again, it's cute. I liked changing whether I did portrait or landscape, and we've got an interactive element again with our little Brad. And did it say Brad? I don't know why. Oh, that was from one of the prompts was a game, and this was from, actually, the whole thing was inspired by, I'd pulled out from a little card game, A Postman. It's a vintage card game, and I just, the only bit I used was the bit that said Postman, and then I found this stamp, and the whole thing came together. That's how it works sometimes. Love that one. So the little girl sent a letter to Santa, and here it is. Santa's received her letter. You can see down here in the stamp, we got Santa. I don't really like this one. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. It's all a bit chaotic. I went for something a bit different. I've done stamping in the background. I think it's this joke bit, but then I don't know. There's a lot going on here, and it's not speaking to me at all. But we did it. And obviously she's on the list. He's checking it. He's getting her presents ready for her. I do love this one though. Again, very, very cute. And blue. Interesting. And a lot of white. But we've brought in those pops up. Very primary colours again. I love this one. So this, I was thinking of, this is the city that she lives in. Then it made me think of Home Alone 2, set in New York. And the bird lady. When I say a city she lived in, the little girl. Obviously, she lives in London. But this had to have a cityscape. So yeah, that made me think of the bird lady in Home Alone 2. And boom, a card came together. Love this. This works perfectly for me. I think the composition as well. I like the texture on it. I like the pops of colour on there. Love that one. Very, very cute. Then this one ended up super vintage. But I also really like it. See, look just how different. Love it. Now, this was in a journal, which they have been, because I've done Margarete Miller the previous 2 years in a journal. Sometimes that clashes, but I found on the index cards they didn't clash as much. So I need to actually write something in there. That's what I need to write. But he's got her letter, Santa. He's filling his sleigh. It's almost Christmas Eve. And I love this. This is very, very vintage. A lot of you were saying, because I used this vintage rug image in the background, that's what gave it almost a nostalgic vintage feel. You're absolutely right. We've got the word gift. As I said, I don't just use dictionary paper, or rarely. Let me rephrase that. I rarely use dictionary paper without a thought behind what is on the dictionary paper. It's just how my brain works. Really, really love it. Very, very cute. Very, very vintage. This has got the most views, not only of any Margarete Miller that I've ever done, but it's got one of the most views of this year of any video. And I don't know why. I don't know if it because in the thumbnail, you just see this camera and whether people are like, what's that camera? I don't know. At last check, I think this, well, yeah, it's got, for me, it's almost quadruple the amount of views I normally get for Margarete Miller. I really like this one. Again, pops of blue. Interesting. But this is very interactive. It's all about going on holiday during Christmas, going exploring. We've got the vintage on here. We've got the, oh, that was right. I did 16 because we did this on the 16th of December. So I wanted that. This is from some packaging, some Tim Holtz. It's not a favourite, but I actually really like it. I think it's cute. And yeah, it works. And then we have the final one we did, which feels like a very Belle piece, even though it's pastel. And again, funny enough, pops of blue. It's very pastel. I'm hoping you can see that I've used a really sparkly paint, both on the snowflakes and on the card. Love this one. It feels very Belle. It's very nature. There's wood brought in there. I've used texture paste and these little tiny button brads that I've had for, I'm trying to get that to focus, for forever and not used. Love this. Really ended up the year with a beautiful card that feels very, very me. But we've got a lot of cards in here I love. Do I have a favourite? Probably the one with my cats on it. And Dracula. Because they feel like very me cards. But actually, like, I have a lot of favourites. But yeah, they're probably my all-time favourites are these two. Just because one's got my cats on it. And this one's got Dracula. That feels very well. I like the fact that I experimented with different shapes. I only did one cut around. I only did one tag. Should have thought about doing more of those kind of things. There's lots of interactive on many of these different cards. I've used up scraps. I've tried new things. Here we go. Here's the one. She's going to be the most thought about one in the whole of this pack because I just can't believe she went missing like that. And I mean, yeah, this just isn't a favourite. But favourites or not, you're always going to have days when you prefer a page or a project or a piece to something else. You're always going to have that. That's just the way it is when you're crafting. But as I said, I love the Margarete Millers because it gives me a chance to use things I might not use, try colours out that I might not use, try different compositions out that I might not do, just play, have fun, chat with you guys. My Margarete Millers are some of my most chatty videos. So if you don't like chatting, you can just mute and watch me do it. But there's normally a reason, like I'm normally inspired by something and that then gets me talking about something else. So yeah, they're normally quite chatty. I love interacting with you guys in the comments and how chatty you get with them. And yeah, I've just really enjoyed them. So as of filming this, I still have not seen any new prompts by Margarete Miller for 2025. I'm getting a little bit worried. However, I have already I've created a kind of journal. I asked you guys what you wanted to see, what you wanted me to work on. You said a journal. I've made it sort of small. You'll see it in the first video. This has been my favourite year for Margarete Miller. I have absolutely loved working on these index cards. I know a lot of you have loved seeing me work on them, and you've said how much, like, you've been surprised how much I've been able to get on the index cards. They are surprising for just how much. I mean, a lot of these I've added extras to the 6 prompts anyway. Some weeks have been harder than others, but it just depends how inspired you are that week. So, as I said, I have not seen the new prompts yet. I'm getting a little bit worried. I checked out her channel and everything, trying to see if she's spoken about anything. Haven't seen anything yet as of filming this. So what I decided to do, what I told you guys I was going to do, is I didn't do the first year's prompts. So if she does not bring out 2025 prompts, the first set of prompts she brought, the first year that she ever did them, I'm going to do those. The only problem with that is there's no relevant hashtag. There's no way. They'll get even less views than ever as a video. And that does make me think, is it worth it? Is it not? But I enjoy doing this so much. So I'm going to do that. Also, what I'm thinking of doing is just trying to use as many of my scraps and bits up, which I tend to do anyway. And also I think we're going to go back to memory keeping and seasonal themes. That's because in 2023, if you haven't seen that, I did a lot of memory keeping where I added personal photos. I think I might do something like that in 2025. So anyway, thank you so much, guys, for all your support. I would love to know what you think of the box and overall. Do you have a favorite? Let me know down below. I would love to know what everyone's favorites are because we all have such different styles. Let me know if you are, hopefully, if she's bringing out 25 prompts, if you're going to do it next year and what you may be doing it on. Are you going to give index cards a bit of a go? They are fun and it's so cute. And look, like it takes up a different space than my rows and rows and rows of journals. So yeah, this has just been a lot of fun, guys. I am so grateful to every single one of you that has subscribed, that has watched, that has commented, that's been encouraging, that's just really interacted with me and made every week's even more fun. As I said, they tend to be my most chatty videos. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, it's been great. I have loved it. I am really hoping she brings out some. I know this is the 4th year doing it, so maybe she wants to try something else. But, you know, I know there's a lot of us out there who love doing this every week. And I find that it's a great way just to switch off and spend 20 minutes often just having fun. And it's a great way to get your crafting mojo back and try things. And then you might try it in a different way in your normal crafting. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for making 2024's Margarete Miller collage so much fun for me. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas Eve. And I hope you have a wonderful New Year. And I will see you back in 2025 with hopefully some sort of collage challenge. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a lot of crafty fun. Bye for now.